Okay, welcome to Cybernet Security. In today's video, we're talking about firewall, and we'll be looking at specifically on Ubuntu Firewall, the UFW, the Uncomplicated Firewall in Ubuntu. So, but before we get started, I want to explain what a firewall is in a layman's understanding. Firewall simply means a security solution, a security system that monitors and controls traffic moving across a network or a device. So in this video, we'll be looking at majorly I have on my screen, I have two devices. I have my Windows, Microsoft, and my Ubuntu Server. So here, the two of them are running on a virtual host-only adapter. I'm actually running on VirtualBox. So, but with this, we'll be configuring our firewall. So before we get started, I will be looking at the firewall. The firewall that we'll be using for this service is UFW in Ubuntu. So when you look at the status, which is UFW status, to confirm if you have the firewall installed on your system, you run UFW status. So let me enter my password. As you can see, if I run that command again, UFW status here, you can see the status is inactive, and what it means is the firewall is installed on my system. The firewall is installed on my system. I'm running on version 0.36.1. So in your own case, if you run this command and you see the firewall is not installed on your machine, you can easily run apt install UFW. That's a simple command on how you can install UFW on your machine. So, but due to the fact I already have this solution installed on my Ubuntu server, it will no longer be installing, rather it will try to upgrade. So in your own case, you can just go ahead and install. So as you can see, it's upgrading. Instead of installing, I already have this application installed on my system. So just try and install if you don't have it already. So yes, when you have the application installed, there are different things you can do in this application. But before we do anything, let me enable the application. After you've installed it, you can enable the application. Application enable. As you can see, I've enabled the application. If I run that UFW status again, you see the application is active currently now. So what it means is the firewall is enabled on my Ubuntu server. So let me look at the list of rules that I have currently. So if I say firewall status verbose, so as you can see, we have default rules already configured: the deny incoming and the allow outgoing, which we know is a default is how firewalls operates. Firewalls by default deny any connection coming from outside and allows all the connections coming from inside to outside. So they call it trusted and from blocks untrusted to trusted and allows trusted to untrusted regions. So, but in this case, we will want to list any firewall rule we have already configured in this our program. So the simple way we can do this configuration is we can just allow, for example, if I want to allow SSH on this system, I can do UFW allow SSH as a service. As you can see, SSH is allowed on version 4 and version 6 IP addresses. So I can equally do allow 22 the port SSH ports if I want to. As you can see, it's equally enabled. So if I do UFW status again, you can see we have the SSH ports allowed multiple times because we did by the name node application and we did by the port number. So you can equally deny if you don't want to allow. You can equally do SSH deny 22. So when I do UFW status, you can see I have SSH denied on this my list, my rules. So what you can do again is you can equally configure firewalls based on application profiles. So what do I mean by that? Instead of you configuring this application based on, for example, I have a server running on this device, on this machine, and I want to allow specific ports for that server. and I don't want to come to the firewall and start allowing a lot of ports and have them listed. So, and what you can equally do here is, as I've showed earlier, you can allow some ports and you can deny some ports. So as you can see here, we have different multiple ports here that we allowed and denied, and by the time we allow many ports, this place will be too much. There will be a lot of rules here. I'll be configuring using the application profile. So how do I do this? So we'll be looking at the application profile. So how does this application profile? When we go to the configuration directory, etc UFW, here in this directory, if we list what is in this directory, you can see applications.d. Move into the applications.d directory, and we'll list this. You can see we already have one application configured here, which is the OpenSSH server. So for example, I have an Apache server that I want to allow port 80, port 443, and port 8181 for that application to run well on this server. So what I can do is I can create an application profile for that service. So I can do alright, let's use nano Apache server, and yeah, we are in the NAN. NAN is a tool that we use to is a text editor that we use in Ubuntu. So here now what you can do is to use a bracket to name the server, to name your application profile. As you can see here, Apache is the name, so I can give it a title as well. Title is Apache server. You add Apache, so like this. Add a description. As you can see, ports, I'm saying ports allowed for Apache server. Then here we add ports equals to, okay, there are two ways you can do this. You can specify ports based on protocol. Here, for example, if I want to enable ports 8080 on TCP and 8181 ports 8080 and 443 and 8181 for TCP connection, and I can equally do for TCP connection. I can equally do pipe the same 443 8181 for UDP connection. So just like this, I do Control X, save here, and let's list. As you can see, I have the Apache server now. So if I cut what is inside of it, Apache server, you can see I have those configurations set up. And remember, the name of the application profile is Apache. So what I can do is I can do UFW app updates Apache server. As you can see, I've updated it. So I can do now what I can do is, okay, let's list. Let's see UFW app list, to list all the application profile we have, to make sure that the Apache we configured is available. You can see you have OpenSSH and Apache. So anything I can do it now, I can enable, I can do UFW allow Apache, just the name Apache. So like this, that's the name of the application. Alright, once I do that, you can see my rule has been applied. If I do UFW status, you can see Apache is allowed, and okay, what I can do is to try to SSH into this system. Or before that, I will remove every other rule that I have there. So how do I remove every rule? I can do UFW status numbered to see the numbers of all my rules. So I can see you can do UFW delete number 1. Yes, I've deleted that number 1. Yes. So here we can do the same thing. As you can see, we have deleted 1. So I want to delete Gonna do the next one. One. I'm gonna add mod dots. Delete 3. UFW deletes 4. Then enter. So it asks this. Okay, I've deleted them, so it asks for the next one. Okay, let's do UFW status. So we have the Apache, so we have one allowed, so I can do the same thing here. Delete should be 2. I can do status numbered. Sorry, delete 1 minute. Delete 2. So as you can see, I'm deleting the second one. If I do status, I just have these 2 rows here. So let me try to SSH. So if I do SSH, I will have to confirm if I have SSH service running on my server. SSH server, systemctl SSH. So as you can see, I have SSH running. So before I do that, I'll have to check my username. Who am I? So I'm root. So before that, let me exit. I can SSH using root and do who am I. Sorry, that's the run command. And do who am I? User. So what's my IP address? Okay, 192.168.56.101. So from here, from my Windows machine, I can try to SSH user at 192.168.56.101. So yes, sorry, the wrong IP. As you can see here, I'm trying to SSH into that device. At first I made mistake to my IP address. So let's try that again. Let me try to ping the IP address. So the IP address is connecting. So let's do that again. So alright, so as you can see here, I tried to SSH and as you can see, the connection is not going through. And when I look at my rules, let's look at the rules I've made. So when I look at my rules, you can see UFW status. You can see we have the Apache and the Apache allowed here. So what is actually the problem? SSH service runs on by default on port 22. So what we're gonna do is, if we go back to our application profile, and the name of our application is Apache server. So once I do nano Apache, I use tab to complete. Here, as you can see, the ports we allowed here, we allowed 80, 44, 443, and 8181 for the both protocols, TCP and UDP. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to allow 22 for TCP only. So when I do this, I'll just save. So once I've saved, I'm gonna update UFW app updates, then Apache the application. So I've changed some rules. As you can see, rules updated for profile Apache. So once I do this and you go back to the SSH and try to SSH again, as you can see, boom, we have a connection. So when I say yes, and it will ask for a password. So I'm entering the password. It's take a while. Yeah, as you can see, I'm inside my Ubuntu server. So when I do who am I here, you can see I'm user. And if I check my IP address, you can see I am 192.168.56.101, which is the same as what we have on our Ubuntu server. So this is how you can actually configure. This is how UFW works. Firewall. Summary: uncomplicated firewall. That's the type of firewall Ubuntu server uses. So, and that is how you can actually configure it using a straight allow rule or using application profiles for them. So I hope this video helps you, and see you next time.